catch up on now. All these baseball games have been quite the distraction for the. Jake came in and said, we are going to have to talk about how many billable hours you've missed out on with all these distractions. I always remind him of when I packed up his house to help him move while he was in D.C. attending the football game for the playoffs. So.
Let's get started, please. I've asked Bill Fyander, who is the Director of Planning for the City of Topeka, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the October 30, 2014 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3. Alongside me is Commissioner Kevin Cook, who is the vice chair of the commission and represents District 2, and Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First item of business, please.
First item under unfinished business, number 1, consider approval of request to purchase a database server for electronic medical record system at a cost of $12,776. This is the health agency, FQHA.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner, Health Agency, and thank you for allowing this item to be put on today. As is noted in the revised memo that was sent to you, we did follow up and do some checking with the vendor regarding this database, and they had told us now that we are at 95% capacity, which gives us about 2 months worth of space, or about 8 weeks worth of space left in this database. They did make the suggestion that we remove the training database to allow us to have some additional time with this particular database. While we did consider that, we don't think that that is a really good solution for a couple of reasons. One is we use that database for training with staff. When they come in, we're actually getting ready to go through a system upgrade in a couple of weeks, and so having access to that database is really important. If we were to then eventually add the database back, there would be a cost associated with it. The other items of importance are that it would take us at least 2 to 3 weeks to get the server to us once we've placed the order. And then that server also needs to go to the vendor for setup as well, which is going to add time to that. So I do ask you to consider this request. The bid that we have currently is valid until tomorrow. We did see a slight increase on this bid request, so it did go up $120. And I would anticipate we could see a request again if we delay action on this item. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Questions or comments?
I have no questions. I think everything was outlined in the memo. That's the reason for needing to go forward.
Commissioner, if I may.
Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Ms. Weingartner, part of my hesitation previously was, as we look at the safety net report and we look at the recommendations, I think that while I will agree to approve this request, I think that I would like to send a message to the health agency that as we look at those recommendations, major expenditures into the health agency should be really looked at very critically, given those recommendations. And if we move forward with going in a different direction with a different FQHC, we have to really be good stewards of our tax dollars. And so I think that future expenditures really need to be viewed very closely as to their need and whether or not they're valuable for the long term. And so that's just to let you know why I had the hesitation before and why I would approve it at this time.
And Commissioner Cook, I agree with you completely, and that is something that we definitely are paying attention to as those requests come through. And just to assure you that the things that I will bring forward will be things that will be critical to our operations, such as this server, because without this server, we can't use our EMR. It becomes very difficult to schedule. We cannot bill for services. So I hear you, and I will do that.
And I appreciate Commissioner Cook's thoughts, and he's absolutely right. But not only should we be seriously considering major expenditures, but we ought to be considering additional hires of personnel as we go on. I know next Thursday, we're going to have a presentation on the Safety Net Summit and the new model that agency is going to be operating on. So I think it's very important that we look at all expenditures, and particularly hiring of new personnel who won't be on board very long. So, did I hear a motion on this?
I will make a motion to approve the expense for the database server with funds to be from the reserve funds.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you,
Next
Commissioners.
Item 3, consent agenda.
No questions. I move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $2,478,923.89. This is a rather large amount, but I would also remind you that this does encompass what would typically be 3 voucher periods. Some of the highlights from it are, as I indicated, with those 3 voucher payments, our payroll, Capers contributions, Blue Cross Blue Shield, holding accounts with the state of Kansas. We do have $120,000 for the American Pre-Sort, that's our mail. And we also have infrastructure payments of over $550,000 for public works projects going on in the county, and then our waste management payments for the trash and recycling. So I would move for approval of the vouchers.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers as presented by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
There are no correction orders today.
Next item, please. And the county clerk has asked me to include items 3, 4, 5, and 6 as one item because they're all similar and so on.
And
So-
I will read them all.
Okay, that'd be great.
Item 3, consider approval of resolution number 2014-91, establishing the flexible benefits cafeteria plan, and resolution number 2014-92, setting the non-taxable employee contribution. Item 3, consider authorization and execution of contract C 381-2014 with Surety Life and Health, which is our vision insurance. Item 5, consider authorization and execution of contracts C 382-2014 and C 383-2014 with Central Trust Bank ASI for the flexible spending benefits and administrative plan updates of the county's Section 125 flexible spending account program. And 6, consider authorization and execution of contracts C 384-2014 and C 385-2014 with Delta Dental for the 2014 dental benefits and for administrative services for the county's 2015 dental insurance plan. And Commissioners.
Yes.
I will, there are 4 members on the core committee, the Audit Finance Director, Betty Greiner, County Councilor Rich Eckert, HR Director, John Thummel, and the County Clerk. And so what we're going to do is I am going to start out and talk to you about our resolutions, that the first request. Ms. Greiner will be speaking to you about the financial aspect of this, and John Thummel will be speaking to you about the program itself, you know, the plans. So, first thing is I have 2 resolutions here before you. The first one is the county, this is an annual resolution. It essentially is telling the public that you are willing to abide by the IRS Section 125, which is called a cafeteria plan. This allows us to give our employees health benefits at pre-tax dollars for their portion of it. So it is a very, sets up that, it designates the administrator, which at this point is the county clerk or the county clerk's designee, and it also sets up the individuals who are eligible to receive the benefit. Our actual fringe benefits that qualify for under the Section 125 are the group health insurance premium, cancer insurance, flexible spending account, deferred compensation, and vision. And of course, our prescription is included with, when I say group health, that prescription is part of that. The other resolution that we have is actually, since we put them together, it actually designates the amount that the county is going to be designating for the employer, their employer's amount. And this year, again, it's $575. We also designate, this is our flexible spending account. We also designate who the company is that is going to, or bank that is going to be processing that, and that will be Central State, Central Trust Bank, at ASI at Columbia, Missouri. We have had a contract with them since before 1996. And so that is the resolution part, and I will hand it over to Ms. Greiner.
Okay, Betty Greiner, Financial Administrator. When we're looking at the finances for our health insurance, there's a delicate balance. There's so many different areas you need to look at. For our employees, we want to provide them with good health insurance, but we want it to be competitive. We want it to be affordable for them. When we're looking at the employer side, for the county taxpayers, for the different departments, we want to hold those costs down as much as possible in that area. Then, since we're a self-insured plan, we have to maintain an adequate fund balance so that if we have some type of a spike in these, we have the funds to accommodate that. So as I say, it's kind of a delicate balance that we have to look at here. We will be able to maintain the same rates this year, or for 15, as in 14. The employees' portion will remain at $20 a month, which is, I'm just very pleased that we're able to do that for our employees, that for their portion it is only $20 a month. Now, I'll remind you that for 14, we actually we lowered that from $25 a month to $20 a month, and we are able to remain at that level. For the employees, the spouse and the dependent portion, that will remain the same for 15 as well. On the employer side, which is the county side, the actual cost to the different departments, that will remain the same as well. And one of the reasons we've been able to maintain the same cost for 14 and 15 is that our employees have been very responsible. One of the things that we have tried to emphasize to them is that, if you can, and depending on the circumstances, but go to the doctor or the urgent care rather than going to the emergency room unless it's truly an emergency. Try generic drugs instead of the brand name. And our employees have been, very successful in that, and that has helped us to keep these costs where they are. Like we said, it's very important for not only our employees, but for the taxpayers of the county, that we try to watch these costs and keep them, as low as we can, but yet still provide really good health care for our employees. So I will turn it over to John.
And I'm here to talk about plan design changes. Since the employees have done such a good job of managing their care and keeping our expenses low, we have only very small, minor changes to our health insurance plan. The only changes, we had to make some changes to comply with the ACA. There are also, under the health insurance, there's only one change that we're going to cover, some autism coverage for some behavior modification. Under the prescription plan, the only change is going to be we're going to add 4 different classes to step therapy. Step therapy asks people if they have a certain drug which is a very high-cost drug. We asked them to try a lower-cost drug at a much reduced cost to the county and to the employee. And if it works, that's great. They can continue on that. If not, then their doctor can override that and get to the higher-cost drug. But at least it's a chance for us to try to make some inroads into some very high-costing drugs. On the dental coverage, we're very pleased to announce two different changes. We have the Preventative Plus program going into effect this year. There's a $1,500 maximum for each person under the dental coverage, but your cleanings will no longer count toward that $1,500 maximum. So that's a great thing for the employees. The other change is that there's a dental maximum rollover program for 2015. And you're going to be allowed, the employees are going to be allowed to roll over 25% of the unused maximum to the next calendar year. So instead of having $1,500, if you have some extra, you can use up to 25% of that for the next year. So you may have a little bit more in case you have some major dental issues. But the one caveat to that is you have to do your preventative. You have to get at least one dental cleaning during the year. And everybody should get there are 2 free cleanings a year. They're absolutely free. Go get them. I don't know why folks wouldn't do that. Anyway, and that's the only plan design changes that we have.
Okay.
Are there questions or comments for any of the presenters?
And I did want to mention another thing. As a group, the core committee did not present any change to the retirees' contribution. It's currently at 120%. And I thought you might want to know a little bit. We have 16 employees who actually retired. They're paying the full premium, which is what they do. They pay the county share and their share, and they pay 120% of that. We have 17 employees who are on the first early retirement incentive program that the county put out. Those are restricted to 5 years or when they reach 65, one or the other. And the county does pick up that entire premium. And the second group of early retirement program, there's 13 in that, and those employees pay 120% of the same as any of the other county employees do. So we did change that portion of it. But the county still is picking up the majority of that plan. Under any plan, in a health insurance plan, your older people, I say that because I am one, so it's not a protected group when I speak of it, we do use it more than, obviously, the younger ones. We feel that our retiree figures are a little bit skewed because all of these people fit into this group, and not all, so we can't say that we're taking a big hit from our retirees and they're only contributing this much money, because a third of them are only a third of them are actually paying the premium that we expect under our resolution, how we expect them to pay. So, and it's really hard to distinguish. We will, unless the commission would choose to address it, we like I said, we did not bring a resolution to you. It's at 120. Statutorily, we can go to 125%. We presented it to you last year, and so it's, that's, I just wanted to let you know, we're not trying to, not give you the option, but we just felt that because of the combination of this, not being able to get a good picture on it, and we do have it at a pretty high rate anyway, 120% of the total. So if you do not want to address that, other than that, I just ask for approval of my resolutions and my contracts.
Yeah, I would just say that Shawnee County provides a very good array of benefits for our employees. And I'm glad we can continue to do that at no extra charge. So I'll make a motion to approve the resolutions and contracts as presented.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
I was just going to add, just thank you to the committee's work on, I know it takes a good bit of time to get through all that, so thank you all.
Item B, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 392-2014 with North Topeka Sunrise Optimists for operation of their annual Christmas tree sales.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. I too would like to thank that committee, the Insurance Committee and the Commission. As staff and we sometimes get caught up in how much we're making dollar per hour, but those are tremendous benefits and tremendous reasons why you'd want to work for, another reason why you'd want to work for Shawnee County. And to help keep those costs down, I just want to let the Commission know that every year I join a gym and I work out that first week of January regardless. So I've been doing that for 25 years. This item, Commissioners, is before you this morning is an agreement with North Topeka Sunrise Optimists. For many, many years, they've been renting a spot over at just across from the Brookwood Shopping Center for their Christmas tree sales. That's what the contract is this morning.
Questions or comments?
I would move approval of the contract with the North Topeka Sunrise Optimist.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item B2, recognition of upcoming major community-wide events for the month of November.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Libby, Parks and Recreation. It's kind of hard to believe November is here already, but we do have several events coming up this month that are fun community-wide events. First of all, this Saturday, November 1st, we have our 5th annual Tales on the Trail 5K walk or run at 10 o'clock at our Shawnee North Community Center. This is a fundraiser for the Helping Hands Humane Society. They have silent auction items. You can dress your canine in costumes. You can have wear your own costumes for the walk. It's really a fun morning to be out there. And again, that starts at 10 a.m. at Shawnee North. One event that I'm so pleased that we are part of is the Invite a Veteran to Breakfast on November 8th at Central Park, and that's at 8 to 11 a.m. It's just a way for us to say thank you to the veterans in observance of Veterans Day on the 11th. Tickets are $5. The veteran obviously eats free, but again, it's just another way to say thank you to our vets. Towards the end of the month, we have our 36th annual Holiday Festival Crafts Show on November 21st and 22nd at the Shawnee North Community Center. We have over 30 vendors there. It's one of the most popular craft shows that goes on in Shawnee County. And again, that's November 21st and 22nd. That following day, we have a holiday bazaar, another craft show that goes on at our Garfield Community Center from 9 to 3 o'clock. Another very popular, all homemade items. And the last item I have is the 17th annual Winter Wonderland that starts November 26th. I have Sean Osborne and Sherry Landry with TARC. They work very well together, and they have a little quick slide presentation over the work that goes on. Sean is our recreation supervisor for Lake Shawnee. He's been part of all our major events, does a tremendous job. He spends a lot of time out on this event, and you can appreciate the detail that his staff and Sherry's staff put into this. With that, I will turn it over to Sean.
I'll let Sherry set up the presentation. It's not on.
It's not on.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
There we go.
Well, good morning. Like Randy said, I'm Sean Osborne, Lake Recreation Supervisor. I just kind of want to give you just a brief little history before we get into this. 16 years ago, this Winter Wonderland started with Ann Freeze as the Director of Parks and Rec. John Knight was the Recreation Director, and Randy Luby had my position. And these two individuals, along with the director for TARC, decided to come up with an idea to put lights in our campground. And and that's how kind of this started. To give you a little bit just of history back then too, if you guys can remember, a gallon of gas was just $1.06. Cost of a stamp was 32 cents, and since it's right around elections, Bill Clinton was our president. What you're seeing on the slideshow here, some of the parks guys in the back picture, that's our boom truck. The hours that we put in is it's not approximate because each year it differs. The employees, it's about 1,260 hours that we put forth to get Winter Wonderland up and running. The picture down below, I know you guys can't see, this is the new display that was put together, which basically leads me to our partnerships. Well, it should be volunteers. I should go with the volunteers that we have, which TARC brings in so many, which is 70 individuals. It's around 450 hours, but that can change as well too.
Probably will this year with the Westar folks.
Yeah, and we just had them out the last couple of days, which has helped out tremendously, since we have fallen back on using Parks and Rec a lot more than what we had in the years past. But the volunteers, they do so much for what we do out there at Winter Wonderland and other events that we have too out at the lake area. If it wasn't for them, I don't know what we'd do. But they do a tremendous job. The next slide is what I wanted to go into was partnerships. It's not just a partnership between Parks and Rec and TARC. There's a lot of entities that play a big part, just like Sherry said, with Westar Energy, Kansas First News, Ace Electric, and then I'm trying to read the other. Topeka Foundry. And that's what I was saying with that picture before. They donate their time, and they made us a brand new sign, which made it a lot easier for us to put up. The old sign, it took almost 16 to 18 individuals to hoist this sign up and put guy wire up and everything. And it's always safety first, and we just try to, best that we can, we just try to minimize the cost that we can. And that's what we looked back with this event this year with going with the master plan, going back through each event, trying to go the economic route of the best way that we could approach to where we would save the county money working together. And that's where I would lead with Sherry, since they have made some changes with TARC as well.
Well, Winter Wonderland is TARC's largest fundraising event, and every dollar that's donated to TARC, 90 cents of that goes directly into programming. We are very frugal with our donations and with the income that we do have. We have a very low administrative cost. So 90 cents of every dollar goes back. TARC supports over 2,000 individuals and families throughout the year. Children's Services by law cannot have a waiting list, and they cannot charge for the services that we provide to those infants and toddlers. That in 2013, the Children's Services Division did support over 750 infants and toddlers and their families and extended families as well, because we look at it as a family, not as just the individual child. Excuse me. TARC also provides targeted case management adult services, employment opportunities, and the only self-determination program in the state of Kansas. We have changed some things over the years with Winter Wonderland. We are continually transitioning to the LED bulbs to save power and costs. And currently, that number that I have up there, 65 to 70%, as we discovered yesterday, we are much further along in that process. So we are probably close to 90% now transition to the LED bulbs, which they last longer and they take less power. We were at the maximum amount of power just a couple of years ago, so we couldn't add new displays. We couldn't change things up but by adding the LEDs, we can have a few more things out there and we can change things up a little more. 2 years ago, we reevaluated the attendance of the first 6 nights the event was open and discovered that it was not economically responsible and beneficial to be open prior to Thanksgiving. The number of cars that came through, the amount of volunteers that were out there, it did not make sense. So we reevaluated, and we now open the night before Thanksgiving for car traffic. A year ago, we reevaluated our Santa's Workshop events that were in the beginning designed to bring people out to do some extra things and then go through the gate on the nights when their car counts were low. We found out over the last few years that that wasn't happening, and that the cost to do the events was much more than it was bringing in. So we reevaluated and discontinued those. But our most popular change has been the transition from our opening night party at Reynolds Lodge, where it was so crowded you couldn't move and you couldn't hear, to our Life After the Lights gala that takes place in mid-January. And from everything that I've gathered over the last 3 or 4 years, that is that's a big plus, because you get to hear what the outcomes are, what your dollars helped do, what the sponsors' dollars helped us do, and how much we actually raised. So we were very excited about that, and that will continue this year as well. The additional attractions that we now have, we have the Tour de Lights, which is going to be November 21st this year. It's Friday from 6 to 8, and you can actually come and walk through Winter Wonderland and see it in a different light than what you would as you drive through in your car. You get to walk and see up close what the displays look like. 2 years ago, we were presented with the opportunity to partner with Sunflower State Games to have a 5K run through Winter Wonderland, and we will do that again. And as you can see, the first year we'd hoped for 100 participants, and we actually had 180. And last year that increased to over 260. And so if we can keep a pace of 260 or more, we're going to be very happy with that. And partnering with the Sunflower State Games is a really nice partnership. It helps keep their name in front of folks throughout the year, but it also, we had the request for many years to have a 5K run through the lights, so it kind of really worked out. This year, following the 5K run, we're going to allow people to ride their bike through Winter Wonderland if they so choose. We've had that request before. We've never really had a way to make it work, so we're going to try it this year immediately after the walk, and then we will open for car traffic on the night before Thanksgiving, which is November 26th. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions? We are very appreciative of the support the county gives us, and Sean's crew is fabulous. I think we do work pretty well together. We tend to partner up and move, and Westar has been fabulous this year as well, so thank you very much.
Good.
Any questions or comments?
No, I just appreciate
Thank
that
you.
you're always looking for new and fresh ideas and reevaluating what works and what doesn't, and very conscientious of the volunteers' time, and the gala is always just a great experience to be at the end.
It's one of our
Thank you for
favorite
everything.
events too, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will mention that I've never seen Sean in a coat and tie before. But it's really a nice look, Sean. I hope we get to see that again in the future.
Yeah.
Next item, please.
Item C, District Court, number 1, consider authorization and execution of the following annual maintenance agreements. A, Contract C 386-2014 with Help Systems LLC for annual maintenance of software at a cost of $469.80. B, Contract C 387-2014 with SHA International Corp. for annual maintenance of the operating system of the web server, document management, development, and data storage systems at a cost of $2,831. C, Contract C 388-2014 with SHI International for annual maintenance and support for the database hardware of the court's case management system at a cost of $1,827. And D, Contract C 389-2014 with Oracle for annual maintenance and support of the Oracle database at a cost of $6,372.76.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kathy Linhart, District Court. Do you have any specific questions about any of these items? They are budgeted expenditures necessary to the functioning of our IT system.
Questions or comments?
I have none.
I have none either. Move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Next item.
Item D, Audit Finance, number 1, consider approval of request to solicit bids for rental of portable toilets in an estimated amount of $15,049.
Good morning again. This is just a request to go out for bid for our use of portable toilets countywide. These, last year we spent approximately $15,000. These are for different locations, for different durations, from different departments. This is just another situation where the county clerk's office has worked with our office and trying to identify areas where we might be able to get a county-wide contract to try to save some money. So, any questions?
No, I don't have any. Thank you again for working together. Move
Yes.
approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Yes, and thank you very much, Betty. Next item.
Item E, Health Agency, number 1, consider approval of request to fill an upcoming vacancy for an Office Assistant 2 position in the SCHA Local Health Department with a salary including benefits of $32,265.33, and to fill any subsequent vacancies that result from filling this position, funded through the WIC grant and revenues generated through the immunization program.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Agency. This position is part of the group that does provide clerical support to our very busy WIC clinic. As I said a couple weeks ago, we serve about 6,000 clients in that program. And last year we gave about 22,000 shots in the immunization program. And this group is cross-trained in both those programs and also provides clerical support at our Central Park Clinic. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
This is for the local health agency, correct?
That is correct.
Not the federal that is subject to the safety net report.
That is
Is that
correct. It's
correct?
all local health department.
Okay. I just want to make sure that the public understands that. Any questions or comments? Melinda?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item E2, consider approval of request to fill a vacant Master's Social Worker position in the SCHA Local Health Department with a salary including benefits of $51,830.68, and to fill any subsequent vacancies that result from filling this position, funded through the Maternal and Child Health Block Grant.
This is a position, as stated, is totally funded through Maternal and Child Health Grant. These social workers go out and do home visits with new parents, with pregnant women, with families with children up to 1 year, and help with different social issues, referrals to community resources, bonding and parenting, just a wide array of services for these clients. And I would be happy to answer any questions about this position.
Questions or comments for Linda?
I have none. I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item E3, consider authorization and execution of contract C390-2014 with Simpatico Behavioral Health LLC for billing for behavioral health services as a part of the CanCare Medicaid program with no financial impact for the county, local health agency, and federally qualified health agency.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner again. This is a contract change that was sent to us by the managed care organization. It's changing how we have to complete some forms and documentation with them. We actually see it as an ease and administrative burden. So we do support this new agreement, and I'd be happy to answer any of the questions. As was noted, there is no financial change to the contractual arrangement we have with them.
Questions or comments?
I would move for approval of the contract.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item E4, consider authorization and execution of contract C378-2014 with the Kansas Association for the Medically Underserved to hire an outreach and enrollment coordinator and support efforts in assisting individuals in enrolling in the health insurance marketplace.
First of all, Commissioners, there needs to be a correction as to this agenda item. This request is not to hire an outreach and enrollment coordinator. That position is already a member of our staff through previous work that was done last year. The request for this is really just to sign this agreement with KMU. It's an agreement that we had with them last year. It helps that they provide additional training to the folks who do navigator work for us. They help share the cost of promoting activities and events for the public. So there is no financial cost with this to the county. And I'd be glad to answer any other questions.
Questions or comments?
I would have move approval of the agreement with KMU.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 2-1. Commissioner Archer dissents. Next item.
Thank you.
Item F, Emergency Management. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-391-2014 with the Kansas Division of Emergency Management for a hazardous material emergency preparedness grant in the amount of $2,500 to carry out a hazardous materials exercise with the Shawnee County Local Emergency Planning Committee, providing a $625 match via wages for employees providing the exercise.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Sturbins, Emergency Management. This is one of our annual HMEP grant requests. This one actually came through City Emergency Management to operate this, but it still has to come from them through the county to go back to KDEM, Kansas Department of Emergency Management. There is absolutely no cost to us. It's all done with anybody that attends. We use their wages as the match, so we more than meet that. With that, I'll stand for any other questions.
Questions or comments for Mr. Sturbins?
And then I move approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Thank you, David. Next item.
Item G, Corrections. Number 1, consider approval of request to post and fill a vacant custodian position with a salary, including benefits, of $30,519.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Department of Corrections. Dan Hendricks, employee or former employee with the Department of Corrections, lost his battle with cancer. And this comes with a heavy heart from the department that Dan was an outstanding worker, met every person there with a smile, often came to my office, and I'll be honest with you, shot the bull every once in a while about different things going on. He gave me a lot of gruff over being a Bears fan, but we got through that. We miss Dan, and we always will remember Dan. But we are here today to ask for approval to post and fill the position that we do need to fill right now. That if we do have to rely on the other officers or other custodial staff, it does cost overtime. We have 3 big facilities that we have to maintain. Our maintenance and quality of maintenance and sanitation has always been very well recognized through auditors that have come through the facility, and we want to continue with that quality. But I did want to let you know that this wasn't a resignation or anything like this. This was somebody who lost his life, their battle to cancer. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions or comments?
I would move approval to fill the vacant custodial position.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next item.
Item H, Planning Department. Number 1, consider acceptance of public dedication of the final plat for Bauer subdivision.
Barry Beagle, Shawnee County Planning Department. This is a one-lot subdivision plat on Northwest Topeka Boulevard. It's the result of splitting out a portion of an existing platted lot, and thus a replat is required in order to establish this new lot. It went through the Planning Commission, no issues or concerns associated with it, and it's submitted to you for your approval.
Questions or comments for Mr. Beagle?
Then move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item H2, presentation regarding City of Topeka Land Use and Growth Management Plan.
Yeah, I had read about this and watched the city council meeting where they had a presentation on this a week or 2 ago. And I thought it was very interesting, and I thought it would be helpful for the county commission to get an executive summary of what the city is planning to do and how it might impact us. And so I've asked Barry to go over a little bit of this, and maybe Bill if there are additional questions about it. But I think this is an important document that is going to give us the way forward as far as planning for Topeka and the surrounding area. So, having said that, Mr. Beagle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Barry Beagle, Shawnee County Planning Department. I do appreciate the opportunity to appear before you to discuss the City of Topeka's Land Use Growth Management Plan update. The purpose of this meeting is to more or less inform you of what the policies and recommendations coming forth from this plan update are. and what some of the potential implications are for residents that reside within the 3-mile extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Topeka. So with that, let me go ahead and kind of launch into this. I do appreciate the fact that Mr. Bill Fyander, City Planning Director, and Mr. Dan Warner, Comprehensive Planning Manager with the City of Topeka Planning Department, are here. I will allow them to address any particular details associated with this plan. I more or less want to provide an initial context for this and set up what is the significant issue with regard to the increase of the minimum lot exemption from 3 acres to 20 acres and begin discussions about that. But in order to set a regulatory context, what I wanted to do is start with an understanding of our current operating standards today within Shawnee County. As the County Commission is aware, we used to operate under a Metropolitan Planning Department and Planning Commission for 40-plus years. In the fall of 2003, that agreement came to an end, the City of Topeka retaining staff and the Commission as a City Planning Commission, and the County Commission electing to go ahead and establish a County Planning Commission and Planning Department. Since that time, we have operated separate rules and regulations governing our respective jurisdictions. Now, I want to make a couple of distinctions. One is that, as indicated, the City of Topeka does exercise a 3-mile extraterritorial jurisdiction, and that is related to subdivision platting authority. So anything within the 3-mile limit of the City of Topeka is subject to the City of Topeka review currently. That decision was made in the fall of 2003 after the split of the city and county planning programs into separate jurisdictions. At that time, there was the opportunity with Shawnee County to participate with the City of Topeka on subdivision platting, and that would have been provided for by state law. We could have formed a joint planning committee with the City of Topeka to specifically address the 3-mile area and the division of land within that area. The County Commission at that time chose not to do so, and therefore relinquishing any plat review authority to the City of Topeka. So for the balance of Shawnee County, that falls under the Shawnee County subdivision regulations, so for any division of land. Otherwise, when it comes to zoning and building permit authority, Shawnee County retains exclusive review and authority for everything beyond the corporate limits of the City of Topeka. So that's how the regulatory framework is set up today. Okay, in 2004, right about the time that the division of city and county planning was happening, there was an ongoing process to develop a 2025 land use and growth management plan. That plan established strategies for future growth and development and trying to maintain an urban form that is compact, where utility services could be extended in an efficient and cost-effective manner. The recommendations of that plan established planned growth areas, which are areas for future growth and development encompassing the City of Topeka. It also established employment growth areas as well, which was for accommodating future industries and so forth. To achieve the recommendations and policies of the 2025 plan, the City of Topeka adopted what is called a municipal service area. And this is the area which is closely cropped around the City of Topeka, as you can see, that is suitable to accommodate future urbanization, future growth and development, and that growth and development within that area was primarily tied to water and sanitary sewer service. The ultimate objective through all of this for the City of Topeka is to try to match up infrastructure with land use, so that way with future growth and development that it is done in an efficient and cost-effective manner. Well, so time has passed. Now the City of Topeka has completed a comprehensive update to their land use growth management plan called the 2040 Land Use and Growth Management Plan. It emphasizes that there has been continued population leakage into the unincorporated area since 1960, and Bill and Dan can address more of the specifics associated with this. The City of Topeka shared the greatest portion of county population in 1960, which captured 84.5% of the total county population. Since that time, there's been a continuing erosion of the city's share of county population growth, and as evidenced by the 2025 census, the City of Topeka's share is now only 71.2% 0.6% of the total county population, meaning that 28% of the county's total population lives outside of the city of Topeka. Since 1960, between 1960 and 2010, 78% of the growth within Shawnee County has occurred outside of the city of Topeka. These have economic implications with respect to the city of Topeka as far as their infrastructure investments. And so the idea is through this plan is to invest in place and take advantage of existing infrastructure where it currently exists, and to grow on the fringe only if all municipal services are available. Therefore, the plan as set out by the 2040 plan, and again, I know that Mr. Finder and Mr. Warner can give more details associated with this, but it establishes a new urban growth area. And this area is viewed as being potential for future growth and development, and that within that area, all 5 municipal services would be required in order to develop, namely water, sanitary sewer, police, fire, and streets. The balance of that area out to the 3-mile limit is referred to as the non-UGA area. Well, what some of the implications are associated with this is that within the urban growth area, as shown on this map, is outlined in yellow. Here are some of the principles associated with it. Basically, the 2040 plan merges the municipal service area and the planned growth areas of the 2025 plan into what is now called an urban growth area, and it is based on all 5 urban services being available to support development. Again, water, sewer, police, fire, and streets. The urban growth area is again considered to be a true future city limit and influence boundary reflecting compact development, urban densities. It's based on more realistic growth expectations and the affordability, again, of all 5 urban services. And the urban growth area also establishes 4 service tiers, which have specific policies and recommendations for directing the timing of growth and development based on the availability of those urban services. So looking at this more closely, Tier 1 represents the city of Topeka. This is the first priority for growth and development for the city. The standards of Tier 1, or what defines Tier 1, is that this area consists of vacant or potential redeveloped lots within the city of Topeka. Generally, the full suite of urban services are available to support development, and this is the first priority for future urban development, as no new or limited investment in infrastructure or services is needed. So this is the area of highest priority for the city of Topeka, is to capture growth and development within the city first. The next area, which is located immediately outside of the city of Topeka but immediately adjacent, is what is shown on this map in dark blue. This is known as Tier Area 2. This area is contiguous to the city and is the next priority for future urban growth. Development of this area makes the city more compact. There must be the full suite of all 5 urban services available in this area in order to support development, and they are. And then finally, this includes the area, or the definition of this area also allows for orderly or squared boundaries to provide clear jurisdictional responsibility for public safety purposes. Service tier 3 is the balance of the urban growth area outside of the city of Topeka. And this constitutes the bulk of the urban growth area. This area has limited or no existing urban services and would not promote more compact city development at the present time. A major investment in 1 or more urban services is necessary to support urbanization of this area. And development of this area is premature until it is cost effective for the city to make investments in the full suite of urban services to support urbanization. So this kind of gives you an idea of the graduated design of accommodating urban growth and development in time. The last area that is identified is an employment area, such as along South Topeka Boulevard and along the northern boundary of the city of Topeka. This area contains areas that are zoned or planned for industrial type of uses. Return on investment from developing these areas is higher than developing residential areas. and as a result, it may be possible to extend urban infrastructure or services to a single parcel or limited number of users based upon the higher rate of return for development within those areas. Okay, so now we get to the crux of the matter, and that is the Tier 1 and Tier 2 are the most ready for future urbanization based on all 5 urban services being available. Tier 3, as indicated, is not ready until the area graduates to a Tier 2 status. Urbanization of, again, Tier 3 development will require major investment in new infrastructure and other urban services. So Tiers 2 and 3, as indicated by the plan, that is the 2040 plan, they should be protected through rules so that the city can grow in a fiscally responsible manner when ready for urbanization. Well, the principal tool outside of utility rules and regulations that the city has is its subdivision regulations within the 3-mile area. That is the primary vehicle by which, if they want to implement changes so as to support a more urban and compact form, it is through their subdivision regulations in the 3-mile area that could be accomplished. So, the 2040 Land Use Growth Management Plan sets forth new standards for development within the urban growth area. There are certain platting exemptions, and here's where we get into the principal changes within the 3-mile area and impacting properties within that 3-mile area. One of the first things that it does is it increases the lot exemption from 3 acres to 20 acres. Properties would be exempt from having to plat in order to develop if there is an existing lot that is at least 20 acres in size. They could secure a building permit. Any new lots that are created must maintain at least 20 acres in size and have 300 feet of continuous frontage on a roadway and achieve a lot depth to width ratio not greater than 1 to 2. So if you have an existing 20-acre lot or you're creating a new lot, it must be at least 20 acres and meet the 300-foot rule and observe the lot depth to width ratio. So what if not? A minor plat would be required if there is a single development lot on an existing lot less than 20 acres. And that is something that I think Mr. Finder, if he has the opportunity, will explain a little bit further as well as part of our discussions. If you're creating 2 or more lots, if 1 or more of the lots does not meet the 20-acre minimum lot size, a minor plat would be required, and/or 300 feet of continuous frontage, and/or does not meet the lot area to depth ratio. Also, if you're proposing a planned cluster development, there's a series of criteria associated with that, then a minor plat would be required. A final category is lot splits. So if you're splitting an existing lot less than 3 acres to infill an area that is already part of a rural urban residential development area with no extension utilities and services, you may do so provided that you maintain the 300 feet of continuous road frontage, you separate the driveways serving the individual lots by at least 300 feet, maintain the lot width to depth ratio, and it's otherwise consistent with the average lot size of the surrounding neighborhood. So if you're doing a lot split, that is permitted without having to go through any extra formal approvals, if you will, associated with that. So my point in trying to bring this to the County Commission's attention is that there have been public meetings and so forth that the city of Topeka has had. I don't know if the residents within the unincorporated area are as much aware of the implications of these changes, and that's why I wanted to have this discussion before you. So looking at this and looking at the 3-mile area, I just wanted to kind of give you a sense of what the 3-mile area consists of. Currently today, the 3-mile area includes 15,606 parcels, and that comprises an area of 87,078 acres. That is the total 3-mile area within Shawnee County. So for parcels that are less than 3 acres in size, there are 11,765 parcels, which represent 75% of all parcels within the 3-mile radius, and they take up about 9,240 acres, or 10.6% of the total 3-mile area. The next category of lots is lots that are between 3 acres and 20 acres in size, of which there are 2,923. They represent 18.7% of all lots within the 3-mile area and take up 20,162 acres, or roughly 23% of the 3-mile area. Finally, well, let me just indicate also, for all parcels that are less than 20 acres in size, that represents 94% of all parcels within the 3-mile radius. Okay, finally, we come to parcels which are over 20 acres in size, of which there are 917 within the 3-mile radius. They only account for 5.9%. That's not surprising considering the acreage and size of those parcels, but they also represent 57,675 acres. So those parcels, those 917 parcels, take up 66% of the 3-mile radius. So I just wanted to provide you with this overview so you understood the context of how any potential policy changes affecting the 3-mile area, how it may potentially affect parcels within that 3-mile radius. With that, that's really the extent of my comments with regard to this, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions for Mr. Beagle or Mr. Fyander?
I don't know if it's appropriate for you, Barry, or Mr. Fyander, but when exactly do you know that these rules would take effect or become effective for the landowners?
I do know that Mr. Fyander and Mr. Warner have met with me. They have met to discuss the potential implementation of this within the 3-mile area. And again, the reason for that is because they control the land division process within 3-mile, but it's implemented through our zoning and building permit rules. So we are trying to eventually come to a set of guidelines that everybody could look at and recognize and understand how this is to be implemented within the 3-mile area. As far as whether, the date of effect and so forth, I would actually prefer to have Mr. Fyander address that question.
Good morning.
Right.
The date for the adoption of the comprehensive plan update is scheduled for November 18th. That's the policy. We would then come forth with an implementation of an update to the subdivision regulations within the next few months following that.
And would existing 3-acre lots that have already been subdivided but are not currently have anything built on them, would they be grandfathered in to the old rules?
Yes. One of the conditions that Mr. Beagle pointed out is existing single lots that are already been created are not affected.
So if I was a landowner and I had more than 20 acres, and I had this idea that at some time in the future I might want to create 3-acre lots, this is your notice, act now.
Yes, the new standards, and I will have to backtrack for a second. The 20-acre rule is not necessarily a new standard. The exemption would be a new standard, so that anybody creating a new lot under 20 acres come to the city to plat. That would be new. But if you do have to come to the city to plat right now, because you're hooking up to city water or sewer, or you're under 3 acres, we do apply that 20-acre standard, and so the standards we've written in here, we try to make more flexible, because that one size does not fit all situations. This exact situation you just came up with the 3-acre existing lot. Somebody wants to lot split it, and everything around it is 1.5 acres already. There's no interest there for the city to grow into that area. We're looking at more the 20-acre plus size parcels that in your second example, where exactly somebody comes to us, they want to go below 20 with new lots. Then these standards help do it in a way that preserves that transitional area to grow into with urban density in the future. It's not saying you can't do it. It's just it's going to be a different design standard than it was in the past.
Commissioner Bueller.
Oh, no, I'm moving down.
Commissioner,
Yes.
I don't know if Mr. Viander's going to make additional presentation or comments about the proposal.
I'm not, actually, my comments, I think when I spoke and backtracked a little bit, I wanted to point those things out. And I have a slide that I could show, help illustrate this rule a little better, if you'd like me to. That's about all I would want to impart.
Well, I think that it's also important to know that there are recommendations made regarding annexation.
Sure.
And if you could address that.
I can speak to that. The plan, the update of the plan emphasizes much less of a horizontal growth pattern and much more of a vertical growth pattern. What does that mean? Our current planned growth areas are too large. They estimate too much of a population that is not realistic, and what that tends to make, what that leads to is the expectation that now the city is going to go out with infrastructure and start making these major investments to bring development in and then ultimately annex that. That is not a cost-effective and sustainable pattern for the city. So what we have looked at much more of an incremental approach to annexation. If it's affordable and those 5 services are in place or can be in place in a very short time and it makes us more compact, then we should bring those forth to our governing body to consider. On the map there, you saw those as Tier 2 areas. Those are the dark blue areas. There are not many that do that right now. So our approach would be if you're contiguous and there's a consent from the property owners and it makes us more compact and our 5 services are in place, we don't have to make any major investments, we should bring those forth. And so we still can grow a little bit at the edge, but that's not our lead-off hitter. That is not what you lead with. You lead with reinvestment within the city.
And is there notice that it's going to be sent out to the landowners that potentially could be impacted by the annexation from those Tier 2s?
Yes, absolutely. Once this plan passes as the policy, then we would start to ramp up more the implementation. And that's what we're talking with Mr. Beagle on the subdivision, on an annexation matter. Then there would be communications that go out to the property owners to alert them if and when we would bring their properties forth for annexation. And so there would be a communication going back and forth, and subsequent meetings with those owners.
And is this plan online where if I was a concerned citizen and I wanted to be able to look at, am I potentially going to be impacted by annexation, where would they go to find that?
Sure. Great question. Gives me a chance to plug. Topeka.org, under our planning department page, you'll see our plan icon here, which actually is very symbolic. You can click on that and you can go to the page to find the plan. There's also there's a video on there to explain the overall concepts. But that is the best way to view it. And then there's a map of there's actually an annexation program map that you could actually see which areas have consented, which ones would be considered to be brought in the near future. And then we also have set up study areas of ones that aren't very clear as to whether those are cost effective or not. And so you can kind of get a picture of a plan.
That was going to be my question, is where can people find out more? But could you go into just a little bit about the difference between the 2025 plan and this plan? I mean, there's a pretty significant difference.
Thank you. The big difference is the projection for growth of the 2025 plan had about 95,000 people. That is 10 times the growth rate that we experienced over the last 50 years for the city. It was a different time. It was ambitious, but it also led, as I indicated, to over planning or spreading us out too much. So bring that back down to a realistic growth rate that gives us about another 11,000 to 12,000 people in the next 25 years. And that should be done in a more compact manner, not on a bloated scale, but much more dense and affordable. But, so the emphasis I think, the difference between the current plan and this plan, though, also is we never really identified how to transition beyond our borders very effectively. I think there was a hope and there was a policy of 20 acres, but beyond that, we didn't really get how could that actually be implemented and take into consideration the impacts it was having, not only on the citizens outside the city, but the city, the burdens it may place on the city and county taxpayers to provide services further and further out in a less cost-effective manner.
I don't have anything, so thank you, Bill, for coming. Thank you, Mr. Beagle.
And if I may, can I borrow Barry anytime I need to have the plan presented, because I thought he did an excellent job. I haven't done that good of a job yet, so.
All right, thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you.
Next item, please.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Morning, Commissioners. Becky Neosi. Register of Deeds. I just wanted to give you an update on our digital conversion project. As you know, we've been converting 2.8 million images of microfilm into digital images. It was scheduled to be completed by now, but they've hit a bit of a snag, and we had quite a few double images they've had to go through and manually work those, and so it's going to take a few more weeks. We have images dating back to 1859. I looked it up. James Buchanan was the president, and stamps were 1 cent. So, and I don't think you could buy gasoline. So we've waited 155 years. We can wait a few more weeks. We want it done right. So I just want to let y'all know, and we'll let you know when it's complete. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Becky.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Agency again. I just wanted to give you a brief update for our Ebola response that we're in the middle of. I just want to say right now that there are no cases of Ebola in Topeka or Kansas right now at this moment. We are continuing with our incident command structure. We have moved our health officer, Dr. Pizzino, up to the command staff level. He's going to be our advisor now. He was in the surveillance and quarantine isolation, so we've moved his position up. Emergency management and Shawnee County Sheriff's Office are continuing their involvement with us in the ICS structure. We had 2 public presentations at the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library this week, one Monday and one Wednesday. And those were both during the daytime, so we're planning an evening presentation probably next week, and so there'll be more information out about that. There was a great article. Dr. Pizzino was interviewed by the Topeka Capital Journal on Monday, a really big article, lots of good information there. We have sent out a letter written by him to all the Shawnee County doctors' offices, urging them to prepare for the possibility of someone walking into their clinic with Ebola symptoms, and also the guidance from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, so they can use that guidance to make their plans. The hospitals, AMR, and first responders are continuing their preparations. And if people want more information on Ebola, our website, www.shawneehealth.org. Follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. And then we also have the 211 system through United Way activated, and they have our Shawnee County information, so people can call that number if they have questions. And I would be happy to answer any of your questions.
Any questions for Linda?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Block, Public Works and Solid Waste. This Saturday is November 1st, so it's the first Saturday of the month, so Solid Waste will be having its Saturday collection event at the Household Hazardous Waste Facility, which is located at 131 Northwest 46th, which is just a quarter mile east of the new roundabout at North 46th and Topeka Boulevard. Again, free of charge. We will collect old oil, old paint, batteries, light bulbs, pesticides, herbicides, anything you want to get rid of out of your garage or home that is considered a hazardous waste. So just want to make everyone aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Good morning, John Tummel, Director of Human Resources. Just want to remind everybody we are holding a job fair tonight. from 3 to 7, and I guess it's this afternoon, from 3 to 7 at the Shawnee County Public Library. We'll have staff on hand to help folks fill out applications and talk about all the different positions we have. So it's a one-stop shop to help folks apply for jobs that we have in Shawnee County. You can also see our jobs at snco.us/jobs. So, see you all tonight.
Oh, wait just a minute.
Yes, sir.
What are the main jobs that we're trying to fill, and what are the requirements for those positions?
Well, we have lots of different clerical jobs open. We have account clerks, mostly they require high school diploma and GED, and some typing, and some 10-key experience. Other clerical positions are open. We also have communication, 911 dispatchers, the typing is there as well, and correction specialists are one other main job that we are trying to fill as well. So those are our main ones that we're trying to fill. There's lots of different types of jobs as well. There's intermittent, some part-time staff, some RNs. So I got a little bit of everything for everybody today. So.
But everything requires a high school or GED?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Jonathan. All right. Commissioner, anything?
Just 3 brief things. I had the opportunity to attend a 10-year celebration yesterday at the Target Distribution Center. And over 500 employees at the distribution center, many of which have been there since day one. And so I think that's a real mark to where you have a good hire from day one, that they're still there 10 years later, and a mark of the company. And so those are things that it's great to celebrate in the community, and also the benefit of the sales tax and from showing past achievements of the sales tax through economic development. Secondly, we have a lot of activities this weekend. At the Expo Center, we'll have the 5A, 6A volleyball tournament. Some of our local teams are participating with Shawnee Heights, Seaman, and Washburn Rural. So I would encourage everybody to come and support local teams in the quest for the championship. And then finally, just be safe over the Halloween with kids running about in the neighborhoods. So.
I think you covered it. Yeah.
Next item.
Item 6, executive session.
I don't think there's a need today, so we are adjourned.